Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 134 of the On Air Advocate. We're at the On Air Advocate. We look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited that you are here this morning joining us, or if you are catching this on the replay. Well, as most of you guys know, we are in our back to school series has kicked off, and also transition series. And so next up in the lineup is Miss Sabrina Thomas. She is an advocate, an IEP coach, a speaker, and an author. And I am excited to have her here back on the show, dropping some golden nuggets for us as most of our kiddos either head back to school or have already headed back to school. Good morning, Sabrina.
Good morning. How you doing today, sweetie?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for joining me at this early morning hour. I know it's still early on the East Coast as well.
It's early on the East Coast, but look, in an hour, I got to take my son to camp, so I'm good.
All good. So I know that, have you guys transitioned back to school yet now?
No, we always go back the Tuesday after Labor Day. So whatever day that is always the same day every year. So we got a couple more weeks.
Okay, so he's in a camp right now. So you're in that preparation stage right now.
Yes, I'm in that. Let's get, because it's like maybe 3 weeks. But this is the time now when you get the routine needs to start back. Getting him back into that mode where he's going back to school, because it's summertime. We lax. He's staying up late, going to bed at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. We've been traveling. He's staying with grandma and doing different things and going places that he normally doesn't go during the school week. So we got to get them back into that routine, slowly but surely.
Yes. And if anybody is listening this bright and early Thursday morning, if your kiddos or young adults are heading back to their programs already, if they're going to be heading back soon, maybe a 1 and a 2 if they're already back in school. Be great to know who is it back in school and who is still kind of just in that preparation stage. Now, Sabrina, you've been on the show before, but for those who have not seen you on the show, before we kind of dive into some of your back to basic golden nuggets and highlights, can you give the audience a little bit of background just about yourself?
Okay. Well, hello. My name is Sabrina Thomas, and I am a mother of 2 wonderful sons and a beautiful grandbaby. And my youngest son, Omar, has autism and cerebral palsy, a sensory disorder, and a few other things. And I am an autism and special education advocate. I am also a speaker in, did I say author already? And I'm an author as well. So, and I'm an IEP coach, and that's really where my passion is. I'm actually just assisting parents and caregivers to make sure that they are their child's biggest advocate. That I'm really passionate about that and helping them navigate through the special education system within the school.
And I know that both of us have many conversations about, the biggest thing is that knowledge is power. And so the more classes, things we can, listen to, other parents we can engage with to get information really helps us to go in having the knowledge, that we need to get the services that we need for our loved ones.
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to let you take it away with some of your top points and nuggets here as we go transition back into school, IEPs, all that good stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Well, you know what? My routine, and I know it changes because, if you have a child that's maybe 5 or 6, and then you have one that's maybe 12 or 13, and then you have another one that's 17 or 18, or even older, the routines kind of change. I've noticed that over the years. So what I used to do maybe 4 or 5 years ago, trying to get Omar back into the routine, is maybe what I don't do now because he's older. Right. So I'm just going to give 5 tips that I think that would be for all, kids of all ages to help you back. And the first one to me, because I know I got to start doing this like maybe today, getting them back into the routine of, going to school as far as like going to bed on time. Because I know my son's been going to bed 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. We've been traveling. He's going out with friends and hanging out and whatever. So I think it's always good to start that back a couple of weeks prior. Now, I know some of the people have already, especially I think in Atlanta, They already, yeah, definitely in Atlanta, because I've seen that on Facebook. They already been back to school. So for people who, parents who have not had their kids go back to school yet, I think it's good to start maybe 2 weeks at the minimum to start that routine back. Getting them back and going to bed on time, and just try to bring that routine back, even though it's still summer. But for me, if I just started like that Friday or Saturday before, that's going to do something with Omar. That he's going to have like a little shock. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm used to going to bed. I think he needs to get that routine back. So I'm going to start this weekend having his bedtime back to the normal bedtime. If it's 9:30, if it's 10 o'clock, I'm going to make sure he's going to bed at that time. So it's not like all of a sudden his body was staying awake longer. Now I'm shutting him down, and and that's going to irritate him too. He's going to be like, wait a minute, what are you doing? So getting back into that day-to-day routine, I think it'll be good if you start within 2 to 3 weeks. I wouldn't, maybe not 3, but maybe at least 2, to get them back into that routine. So to me, that's very important. And that's my top one, because that's what I'm going to start doing now. So that's the very first one. And the second one is getting everything organized as far as your paperwork, your binder. And I know all us special needs parents have to have some kind of binder, paperwork, folders, something, because I know Omar's stuff is like in stacks. And I think getting that together before the school starts, and maybe reviewing it, because not everybody has that extended school year. Like Omar, I opted out of that this summer because I knew we were traveling a little bit, and he wasn't going to be able to go to the school. But I really wanted him to go to camp, because, as you know, the summer school is like 3 hours here. I don't know anywhere else. It's only 3.5 hours. I wanted him to go to a special needs camp that was all day, and they went on trips, and they teach him social skills, and he volunteered at the food bank. He did stuff productive in the community, and I thought that was that was better for him to do that, and more productive for him in the summertime. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Something like that. So I think getting everything organized, paperwork, your IEPs, everything together from last year, reviewing it would be perfect. So that way you're going into the school year knowing what's current, what are you looking for, what your goals are, and just kind of reviewing that with yourself, just one-on-one before the school starts.
Right.
So that's the second one.
And I think that an idea I was thinking with that organizing one, as you were talking about having all those binders and stuff like that, and the different folders, is to kind of rotate, so you can keep all those last, couple years of, obviously, get them into the file folder, but have an up-to-date binder with the things you need, a med list, the IEP,
right.
IEP, the most recent paperwork, any doctor's letters.
Because things change.
Right.
Things change.
So you don't have all this plethora, because sometimes our binders.
Yeah, you got, nothing stays the same. That is perfect, Tammy. Nothing stays the same, because people can get new diagnosis over the summer. They can get sick. I remember a couple of years ago, before Omar started school, he had a stroke. Like 3 weeks before school started, a mild stroke. And I was like, so when he left in that summertime, he was not that same child going back to school in September. I had to get all my doctor's notes, all my information, all my paperwork. Actually, I went into the school because that was significant. I needed to let them know, like, hey, you saw him in June and you come back, he's not going to be that same child. So that's very important to do that, because everybody's situation is different, and we need to make sure that the teachers are aware, the principal, the school, and that makes the child more comfortable when they're walking into a situation that everybody knows what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's the second one. Yeah, that's the second one. Now, reviewing your child's current IEP is very important, of course. You got the folder, you got the binder, you got all the papers and everything, but taking the time to take a look at that current IEP is very important, because you need to know the goal regarding the goals, where the child left off, and maybe this is what I'm doing. I'm taking a look at the IEP and seeing where he stopped off in June, and I'm writing my own goals, because when school starts in September and they're going to schedule that meeting, I'm going to be already like ahead of the game. Like, okay, I know where my child's at when June ended. This is where he's at now, because he had a little bit of growth, And then when you go to that first IEP meeting in September or October, you can already have your list of stuff of what you want your child to do and looking at where he was at. And then the teachers haven't seen your child for the most part, for some of them. They haven't seen him since June. They don't know what he's doing, how he progressed or running. Those notes need to be on the side and a little sticky so you can let them know, hey, this summer my child did this, this, and this. This is where he was at, even though I think they still need to verify that data, still, but you can have that information to bring to that meeting to let them know that. So reviewing that IEP, updating that on your own personal level so that you can have that information for your meeting is very important. Okay. Very important. And then, so that's number 3. And then for me, and this is different for each kid, depending on the ages, making sure that you're taking the anxiety away from the child for back to school, and even for the home, because I know when summertime ends, my schedule is going to change as well. So Omar's schedule is going to change as well. And you kind of have to ease them in that. And that's just part of making sure they go back to bed on time, get into the routine, but just making sure they know, especially for kids that are not nonverbal too, but that are not nonverbal, they could be changing schools. The parent could have moved. They could be going to a new school or something like that, making sure that they're comfortable in whatever's to come for the new school year. So that could be talking to the child about that, going to picking out clothes and going shopping, whatever makes that child feel comfortable for the new school year, but just talking to the child about that in advance. So, and asking them questions. See, my son is kind of nonverbal. I really can't ask him about the school year. I can talk to him about it, but he's not really going to have a conversation with me about back to school, whether he likes it or not, But right. Some children are different. You can have that conversation and they can participate and they can have an opinion and verbalize that to you. So for the kids that needs to be done prior, because I know for a fact a client of mine, child is moving and she's having anxiety going back to school in a couple of weeks because new friends, don't know who these people are, new teachers, and it's all new. And even the parent is having anxiety because everything is different. You don't know these people. Everything is new. She was comfortable for 14 years and now here she is in a whole new city and state. So that's a little uncomfortable for her. So trying to get back into that routine and making sure everybody at home, the parent, the child, the siblings can, lessen the anxiety, just communicating within the household before you even go to the school. I think that's important.
Yeah, and I know that for some, and I don't know if your son can use one of these, but, we use at home a lot of times dry erase boards.
I have one. Yeah.
Every room. So that we kind of lay out what each day is going to be to lessen the anxiety. So kind of hour by hour, like if we're going back to school shopping, if you're going to do this, each hour, so you can visually see.
And you write everything on the board? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Okay. So every day, what to anticipate, what's going to happen.
I like that. I'm going to write that down. I like that.
But I know that at least when my son was younger and wasn't quite as verbal, we did a lot of those from the teacher's store. The characters that, how they have all the like a teddy bear and you can put clothes on it, you can get it dressed, and just like figures of what's going to happen next. Like, I'm going to put my clothes on, I'm going to get my backpack, and you can do it in visualizing it, like what's going to be the steps, but instead of in words, if they can't read words, you can do it in actual pictures.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And I have, I'm guilty because I have a dry erase board and I don't really use it that much. But I think, like everybody's situation is kind of different. And like you use that, and that's something I just wrote that down, maybe because it wouldn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's just something different. All communication, no matter how you do it, I think is very important. That's a form of communication, especially because my son is not that social, but he can read. Right. He's a good reader. So sometimes when I'm doing things, he's reading labels, he's reading stuff, like on the phone, he's reading it. But if you're having a conversation, that's a little different. So that would work really good for Omar. Yeah, because he would see that and be like, okay, 9:00, we're going to Foot Locker. Okay, Mom, it's not, so that would be good.
You can anticipate. And with school, I think that helps, especially like if there's going to be a special for the day or they're going to go on a field trip, because that can put anxiety. or it's the first day that they're meeting the teacher, you know, like those kind of things I think can help, you know, they can anticipate what's going to happen next before they get there. But
yeah, that is perfect, because when I for the summertime, that would actually, I could have used that for the summer camp, because there were different days he went to the pool. He did field trips twice a week. They did something almost like 2 to 3 times a week. This last week we're in the last week, and they're kind of slowing it down and doing a talent show today. But every week they did something where they went out, a field trip, they volunteered, they did something. So I would kind of the night before have a conversation with him. Even though he wasn't talking to me back, he kind of understood, like, okay, field trip, yes. And then I'm letting him know what he's going to do. I'm taking him to the store. Oh, what kind of treats do you want? What do you want to eat for lunch? You know, that kind of thing. So I'm working it out with him, and we're shopping for it, so he knows that it's coming, whether he's verbally telling me this back or not. In his head, he knows that he's having a field trip. I packed his lunch. He knows. So all kind of communication, no matter how you do it, everybody has to do it different for their child, is key for me.
Right, and getting them involved. Like,
and that last one, because I'm thinking, okay, after you organize your binder, get all your paperwork in, all your doctor's notes and everything straight, you're reviewing your IEP, making sure that's current, making sure that you have your goals straight, taking updated information for the teachers. You're getting that anxiety for the back to school, taking care of all that, making sure that that anxiety within the home is lessened, and getting back to those routines, get the child back to the sleeping routines and going to bed, you know, on time and whatever. I think the last one for me, well, so many of them, you know that, Tammy, there's so many. But the last one that's important is making sure that you attend those school functions, making sure that you go back to the open houses, the back to school night, the parent teacher conferences, whatever they have in your community. I do not miss, I think I missed one time because I was out of the area, but I did like a phone call. Actually, we did a FaceTime phone call, because I want my child, especially, you know, when you're young, when you're older, each kid is going to a different teacher, sometimes within the same school, but it's a different teacher, home teacher. I want you to know who Omar is, who I am, my face, his face, what he likes, what he doesn't like, you know, just a little conversation that every parent is going to squeeze the teacher out and say, hey, this is Omar, you know, you're going to see him, you know, making sure that you do that, and making sure that I make sure that Omar sees that new teacher, shakes her hand, gives her a hug, or whatever he's going to do, and making sure he's comfortable, you know, going back to school. But communication at those events, back to school or whatever, is very, very important, to make sure that the teacher knows what they're what they're going to be getting when school starts and everything, and the child knows that face now. So putting that two together is really good. So if you can get an open night, a parent-teacher conference night, back to school, I'm not sure what they call it in the different areas, make sure that you attend that. That is actually essential.
Yeah,
that is really important thing to do.
And you know, for some that might be listening that will say, well, I'm a single parent, or I don't have any support systems at home, or I have multiple children and I can't get there. I mean, so much of the time, getting that open communication with your teachers via email, making a call, making a daily log, all of that, you know, just know that you're not in that box. The main thing, you know, that you want to attend, obviously, if you absolutely
of course,
get there. But if you have those other restrictions, the main thing, as you're saying, Sabrina, is to be involved.
Yes, and that's what it is. Because like I just said, I missed one because I was out of town, and I almost cried. I was like, oh my God, I got to go to the parent-teacher conference. Oh my God. But the thing about it is, this video, and if you don't have an iPhone, or you don't have a Zoom or whatever, you don't have a way to do the conferencing, because they work it out for you. They really do. They want to communicate. They want to know what kind of child they're getting. They want to see our faces. They want to have that, for the most part, relationship, and see before school starts, and get that, because it starts right there at that event. It starts there, you know, the kind of relationship and everything starts. But I couldn't make it. I did a video call, but I know people did do emails, or just a phone call conversation itself. You know, teachers are really open for the most part, because they want that, you know, so they'll try to work it out. So if you can't make it, like Tammy said, please find another route, whether it's a phone call, an email, or some kind of communication. Just make sure that something happens before school starts.
Yes, definitely. So to kind of back that up, number one, we're talking about routines and bedtime, getting back to the routine of things. 2, staying and getting organized. 3, reviewing all of your IEP paperwork and making sure that's straight. 4, what were we on 4? Oh, anxiety. Any way to lower the anxiety is awesome, but you can also get your kids involved to participate in any of these back to school activities, and then making sure that you're involved. I think all of those are so essential.
Yeah, and you know, Tammy, like I said, there's so much more that you can do. We're gonna be here all day talking about this back to school stuff. There's so much, but you know, those things are key. And I'm thinking if you can take care of those 5 things, all 5 of those things, you're good to go for the school year. I mean, you got a lot of other stuff to do now, of course, but you'll be set, you know, for the beginning of the school year. And that'll take a lot of anxiety off yourself and your child.
Yes. And Sabrina, as we're kind of in wrap up, how can, well, one, I want to find out, you know, what's new with you and going on. I know that you're always involved in different events, activities, things in the community, launching books, doing all different kinds of cool stuff. And how can people find you if they want to reach out, you know, get more information, all that stuff?
Okay, well, yeah, I do have a website, and it's www.sabrinatSpeaks.com. But you can find me on Facebook. I'm at Sabrina, the IEP coach, because I'm an IEP coach, and easily. And I do have a personal page, Sabrina Thomas, the Advocate. So I'm, you know, either one of those resources you can find me on. I'm always there. And Tammy, I could probably put the information down in the group.
Yeah, in the comments.
Call later. Yeah, I'll put that information down.
Wonderful, wonderful. And anything, any events or anything like that coming up that we should know about?
Yes, I actually have a book launch today. I have a book of the Queen Boss Movement, and you know, the book launch is the book is launching today. The actual physical launch is next week. Yay! It's actually next week in Times Square in New York, and it's actually, I'm so excited, Tammy. I really am. And what was I gonna say? And what I do, my book is called, the title of my book is called, my chapter, because it's an anthology with 15 other women, and it's called Don't Count Me Out. And basically, when don't count me out, because I counted myself out because a long time ago, being a special needs mom, thinking that, you know, after I had Omar, that it was over for me. Like I had to consume myself with my child and all his medical issues and disabilities. And I thought everything was going to be involved around him. But I realized I had that aha moment one time, one year, a couple of years ago. I'm like, okay, it's not over for me. I can do this. And just making those turn of events. So I'm sharing my story, how I transitioned from a full-time, working full-time to an entrepreneur. And that took some time. So I'm just telling my story about that. And I'm still a special needs mom. And I'm still making sure my son is good. And I'm still an advocate. And I'm still doing other things. So if I can do it, trust me, anybody can do it. You know? So I talk about how don't count yourself out. Because I did, but then I changed my mindset, and I'm not counting myself out anymore.
Well, and that should be our motto for the whole day. Everybody.
Yes, don't count yourself out. Yes, that's it. There it is. Hashtag don't count yourself out.
Yeah, drop it below. Drop it below. Awesome.
That's right.
Well, I am so happy again that you took the time to be with us here this bright and early Thursday morning.
Yes, happy Thursday.
Yes, happy Thursday. For anybody who is watching, please do let us know. Are your kids back in school? Are they not in school yet? When are they transitioning? We want to know. If you have any questions, you can drop them below and we'll answer them after this segment. On that note, if you guys have not seen, we have a whole entire guide and lineup for the whole entire month of August.
Yes, I'm so excited, Tammy. That it looks so good. I can't wait to the next one.
So everyone, make sure you click on that, print your guide off so you know when we're going to be on. Know if we're going to be on super early. You can always catch it on the replay and find out, you know, all the information about what's going on. So click on that link for the guide. In addition, if you want to be part of our private On-Air Advocate community, you can head up to the top of this Facebook page, hit the blue button, and that will let you in. And any other information you can find out at www.onairadvocate.com. On that note, everybody have a fabulous Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Don't count yourself out.
Don't count yourself out. All right. See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Instagram. Bye, Facebook.
Bye-bye.